Hey, I'm Matt. I'm the creative director at Giant Squid.
So Matt, talk about Abzu.
So Abzu is an underwater exploration game. You control this diver who goes deeper and deeper into the ocean to discover who she is and has a connection with nature as she goes on this underwater journey.
What was it like working with the Unreal Engine?
We're using the Unreal Engine to create Abzu. And it's really cool. There's a lot of great features in that are helping us do a lot of cool stuff. And we're able to, render just thousands of fish on screen. And that's in part due to the extremely hard work that our team is doing here. But, we're very grateful to be working with a very powerful tool like Unreal.
What are some of the challenges when taking a beautiful game like Abzu and having hundreds of things on screen with a bunch of beautiful colors and movement and putting that onto the PS4 from PC?
So what's really interesting is that if you look at a lot of other games and the way they do wildlife or fish, you will notice that there's only like maybe 10 or 15 fish on screen at any one time. And that's because they're using a very traditional kind of method of animation where you create an internal skeleton to animate the creature. And so we actually have to do it a different way to get the amount of creatures that we want on screen. We actually render tens of thousands of fish at any time. So we actually animate them completely mathematically, and this lets us do it without an internal skeleton. And so that allows us to get a lot more fish on platforms like the PS4. So it's really just taking a real novel approach and just thinking outside the box. But that's what it takes.
Can you talk about VR? PlayStation VR is kind of a big thing right now. Did you ever think about going to VR with this game, or did you want to do VR with this game?
When we were designing Abzu, VR wasn't our first thought. We really wanted to create this experiential narrative game. And we've had a lot of people come up to us and say, underwater is great for VR. But what's happening in Abzu is that it's almost like a ballet. The diver moves very quickly. She can do full loops. And some of these things kind of scare me for VR. You might get seasick. It's something that we definitely want to try. And there's certain modes in the game that are more kind of still that might be a good fit. So it's definitely something that we're interested in experimenting with, but no promises at this point.
Talk about all the research you did on the fish and marine life when you were designing and making the game.
Sure. So I'm actually a scuba diver, just a beginner, but I love to go diving in the ocean. And we actually took a trip to Catalina Island, my lead engineer and we dove in the kelp forest there. And it was just immediately apparent that this was such an inspirational environment for creating a game and a story. And so we dove into researching fish, and there's all these different kinds of biomes in the ocean. At every different depth, there's different kinds of creatures. And that was something that was really inspirational for us. So we actually have hundreds of different fish that are based on real life fish. We know too much about fish at this point.
You talk about how you used color and light to really emphasize the different biomes in your game.
Sure. So one thing that really excites me about making video games is that they are this really unique medium for creating kind of a beautiful art piece. And the ocean is also really unique for that because light underwater just colorizes the entire environment. And so I really wanted to push that to make every single environment you encounter in Abzu unique. So you go deeper in the ocean and there's these areas with no light. You have complete blackness. And we can just bring, the mood in with the light in that way. Every space, the amount that you can see out into the distance and the brightness of the light rays, it really communicates visually a mood to the player. So we use that as one of our core tools for communicating the story.
Now, did you guys stick with tried and true marine life, or did you get creative with some of the creatures in the game?
So all the fish in the game are based on real life creatures. But as you go deeper, there are some places where you might find some kind of secret creatures, some extinct creatures and things like that, which are really exciting for me because I'm super into paleontology and things like that. So there's definitely a lot of very unexpected things that you might find in the ocean.
What's your biggest challenge when making Abzu a reality for you personally?
Giant Squid is a new studio. It's been about 3 years developing this game and also building the team. When we first started, it was just me in here sitting at one desk, very lonely. So finding everybody to help me create this game, and we've actually done an amazing job. We have a super talented team. It's pretty cool. But yeah, building a team and building a game at this scope at the same time has been a big challenge, but very rewarding, very rewarding.